Live from the Business RadioX studio inside Renaissance Bank, the bank that specializes in understanding you. It's time for North Fulton Business Radio.
And hello again, everyone. Welcome to another edition of North Fulton Business Radio. I'm John Ray, and folks, we are broadcasting from inside Renaissance Bank in beautiful Alpharetta, and it is beautiful today. We've got a great day ahead. Folks, if you are tired of the big bank experience, the mega bank experience where you cannot find a live person to save your life, and you'd really like some personal attention, but you'd like to do it at a bank that's big enough to handle pretty much all your needs. That's the combination, and it's a magic one that I have found at Renaissance Bank. Go to renaissancebank.com and find one of their locations, some 200 across the Southeast, and give them a call. I think you'll be glad you did. And live people answer the phone. Imagine that. Renaissance Bank, understanding you, member FDIC. And now I want to welcome Garet Duff. Garet is with Keller Williams. Garet, welcome.
Good morning. Welcome.
Yeah, thanks for being here.
I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about you and how you're serving folks out there through Keller Williams.
Yeah, Keller Williams is an amazing organization. The culture is fantastic. I love being a Keller Williams agent. We really focus on meeting people in their needs. So people have busy lives. There's stuff going on every day in their life. We need to understand what they're dealing with and then help them, whether they're buying, selling, renting, whatever their plans are. So I really take all of my business experience from 30 years and pour it into my real estate career.
Excellent. So you have not been in real estate your whole career. Talk about your journey and how you got into real estate.
I got my license 4 years ago.
Okay.
Previous to that, I was in corporate communications and with several different international PR firms. Loved my job, loved serving companies, really helping them get their message out, their positive messages. Companies are giving back so much more than ever, so I was a big part of helping companies get the word out. With that, then I took all of those skills and translated them right around 2020 when a lot of people made a lot of changes. I was consulting and doing real estate for a while, but have completely now gone full-time into real estate.
How's that been for you?
It's been really, I see a very tangible result of my work. I see being able to help people in their lives and meet their needs where they're at. And sometimes in corporate work, you sometimes see tangible results, sometimes not. But I just feel like I'm making a difference with people in their everyday lives.
Yeah, I can see that in PR. Yeah. Right? Because PR, you do a lot of different things. Sure. And sometimes the clients appreciate that and sometimes they don't, right? And they think, oh, it's because of my good looks and charm that we got all that publicity or whatever, right? But,
and a lot of your work, you may not see the results for years.
Yeah, you go.
It takes time. With real estate, I can tell if I'm helping somebody get to where they want to be, get to the place in their life where they want to be. Another thing about Keller Williams is we talk about creating a life by design. And so we're always focused on what are our clients' long-term goals. Do they want to own? Do they want to invest? Do they want to sell and move to their vacation home? So we don't have the short-term goal in mind for our clients. We have the long view, and I love that.
Yeah, and for most, the stakes are higher on a proportional basis, right? So what you're dealing with are families where this is possibly their biggest asset that they will ever have.
100%.
And so the stakes are high.
And clients, for example, I had a family that moved from Tampa last year. They had a small 2-year-old, so they weren't necessarily ready right now for schools, but in a few years, they're going to be ready for school. So it's very important to them to find a school district that they liked. Some clients have needs based on where their job is relocating them to. Some clients want to buy a starter home and then turn it into an investment property. So we like to have those conversations. What are your long-term efforts? How do we help you get there? So it's not just about a one-time event. How can I help you throughout your lifetime?
Got it. So you talked a little bit about Keller Williams at the opening. I want to dig into that a little bit. Lots of real estate companies around. Why did you choose Keller Williams at the end of the day?
Keller Williams has a fantastic culture, and they do a ton of training. There's a huge support system in place. I have a team behind me as far as so many lenders available, so many contractors available, so many programs available. So when you get a Keller Williams agent, you are getting years and years of expertise. You're getting market data. You're getting the best of the best. They do a lot of training. I went through a training last year. It's called Bold. And it's all about your mindset. So the very first thing I heard when I joined Keller Williams was the market is not out there, it's here in your mind. So as an entrepreneur, as a person changing careers in their field or changing careers into another field, it's really about your mindset and continually learning. One of the most important things I think I've learned from Keller Williams is be comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Say more about that. What does that mean?
This is my second career. I'm not naturally comfortable doing a preview video of an open house or a preview video on social media. This is just not what I grew up with, not my comfort zone. The more we do something, the more comfortable we get with it. And that's what Keller Williams teaches you is be comfortable with being uncomfortable. I think that's very important for a lot of us who evolved our careers, especially after 2020. So many things have changed in life.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So we were talking about before we came on the air, you've got a special expertise of Metro Atlanta where you serve that a lot of people don't have.
Yeah. So I moved to Atlanta in 1995, quite a while ago.
Yeah, pre-Olympics.
From pre-Olympics from Columbus, Georgia. Grew up always wanting to be in Atlanta. This was just where my heart was being pulled, where I wanted to be. I've lived in 11 different areas since I've moved to Atlanta.
Wow.
And I can help people if they're looking, again, based on their priorities. Are you looking to be close to your office? Are you looking to be in a great school district? Are you looking to be in town where there's just so many continual events happening? So I'm happy to help people.
So that gives you a perspective that a lot of people don't have. There are a lot of transplants to Atlanta that they find their location, and that's where they more or less stay.
Yeah, it gives me a great perspective because family, based on where you're at in your life, your needs are different. With one thing I think 2020 really helped people was opening up the ability to work. You can live, if you want to live farther out and have a little bit of land, you can live and work where you want to live. If you want to be in town, it's really based on people's lifestyles. And I love Atlanta. We have so much to offer. We are continuously growing. We don't have enough inventory for everybody. There's a lot of people renting right now. And if you're renting, that's okay. Ultimately, the best place to be is to buy because you are building equity. But I have a lot of clients who say, I need to rent for a year or two until I can buy. So I'm happy to work with people in whatever stage you're in.
Yeah. Garet Duff is with us, folks. She is a residential real estate professional with Keller Williams. Did I say that right? Residential, or,
Yes.
or do you do commercial too?
I do not do commercial.
Okay.
I refer to we have some great commercial agents.
Okay. Just making sure on that. So you talked about your PR background and the skills that you developed there. And one of the things that stood out for me and some of the things you said is that you're pretty good, it sounds like, at putting others forward. And I'm just curious about how your background has helped you in real estate serve your clients more effectively.
Sure. I think being client-centric and client-focused, I am listening and asking questions first. I want to find out what my client's priorities are at the beginning. When you're working in a situation in real estate where you're working with a listing agent, you're the buying agent, whatever it is, you will also want to find out what's your other person's priorities, on the other side of the deal, what's their priorities. And when you find that information out, you can create a win situation. When people buy or sell a house, it's not always about price. It could be about timing. It could be about, I'm a young buyer and I don't want to spend a lot of time. I'm a young seller and I don't want to spend a lot of time putting upgrades in my home because somebody else might want something different. It's finding out what each party wants, what their priorities are, and then creating that situation. It starts with listening and asking questions.
Do you find that the folks that you work with, this may sound like a stupid question, and it may be a stupid question. I've been known to ask them before, but do all of them know what they really want? Just sometimes do you bring out things that they hadn't thought of?
I call it the process. And my clients, they love to, I will say the process about 5,000 times. For example, with a person who's buying a home, they think they know what they want at the beginning. And sometimes they do. But the more we go and see homes, sometimes priorities start shifting and changing. And they think, I really didn't need that. I needed this. And I say at the beginning of our working relationship, this is a process. There are going to be bumps and challenges, but we're going to work through it together. I have the resources if you need a different resource. For example, I had a client last year. She was getting remarried. Her husband had to sell his home. He didn't want a lot of people trekking through it to look at his home. He wanted to sell it quickly, so we sold it without listing it. And that met their needs, and they were able to turn around right away. They found their home and buy the home they wanted. So it's a process. You may think you know what you want, but until you actually start going through it and experiencing all that it has to offer, you don't really know.
So when a client is thinking about selecting a listing agent, what should they look for? Because there are a lot of real estate agents out there, right? And a lot of people, they don't do these transactions every day, so maybe they don't know the right person or they get a referral. But how do they know that they've got the right person for them?
I can say market data, I can say expertise, I can say experience, but I think the first thing is building a relationship where you have a solid rapport with somebody, where you feel like you can communicate with that person and they listen to you, and it's all about the interaction that you have. There are so many challenges that can happen throughout a process. And if you feel like you can trust that person, you can work with that agent, I think that's number one. Behind all of that is do they have the market data? Do they have the expertise? Do they have the resources? Are they patient? Can they listen to you? Selling or buying a house is stressful. Whether it's a good situation or whether it's maybe you've had a parent that needs to transition into your home and you need to sell their home. Whatever it is, you have to have somebody that's willing to be patient with you, listen to you, advise you, counsel you, put you in touch. So those are some of the things that I recommend people look for.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And obviously you've been trained, you've got long experience in listening skills. And again, I think clients come and they really because they don't do this every day, they don't really necessarily know what they're looking for.
Sure. And
given all this experience you have in all these different parts of Atlanta, they may be looking for something that's totally different than what's in what is currently in their head, right?
Sure.
And so that's really what you're talking about in terms of being able to, you have a conversation with them and draw that out.
I'm going to refer back to the process.
Yeah.
So we get a list of what their priorities are, what they think they're looking for, and you start down that road. You can't figure out what they want until you actually start the process. And I have a very structured process. We get them pre-qualified because this is a busy market right now. Last year there were 6,000 homes in the market this time. Right now there's over 10,000. So the market is getting busy. We got to get them ready if they're ready to sell or buy. I help them with all of that. But again, it's a little bit messy because you can't just know what you want without experiencing it. They have to let me help them through that.
So one of the things that you talk about is time management. I'm interested in that you think that's a really important aspect of what you do as a professional to run your business, and then how you use those skills to effectively serve your clients.
I really try to follow the 80-20 principle. 20% of your efforts, 20% of your efforts are going to create 80% of your results. We can get overwhelmed when we're starting a new career, starting a new business. We think we have to do everything. It is overwhelming. At Keller Williams, there's 5,000 avenues to run your business. They have great models, but how you actually choose to execute is up to you. We track what we do. We pick 2 or 3 efforts and track and see the success, and that's what we focus on. Sometimes we need to change, but I would just encourage people to know where your results are coming from and make sure that 20% of your efforts happens in your time management.
Yeah, I love that. So let's get into some kind of the facts of the market, maybe is a way to put it. You talked about you've got this broad experience across all of Metro Atlanta, but you focus primarily in North Fulton, right?
North Atlanta, because this area, North Fulton, is growing and booming. And if you look at the population center, 50 years ago, it used to be downtown Atlanta. 20 years ago, it was Sandy Springs area. We continually are moving northward population center-wise.
Yeah. Does it all start and end with school district? When it comes to, I guess, just value, right? Because it seems like that's always the conversation. It starts, even if you don't have kids, that's one thing I seem to hear is that you want to be in a good school district because of home value. What do you think?
I think it just depends on, the first thing I tell my clients is if you like a property and you, for some reason, had to resell it very quickly, could you do that? Because some people get all caught up in, this is a home that's been remodeled and it's beautiful and, how long has it been on the market? Would you be able to resell it? It is about the school district. However, there are so many other factors. I encourage my clients, if they fall in love with a property, go drive by there at night and see what the areas, is there any loud noise? If you're right next to the football stadium on a Friday, you may or may not love that. So there's so many other factors that affect a home value. Absolutely.
Okay, so it's not just as simple as if I'm in a great school district. And I guess the other side of it is true, is a great school district is not going to bail out a bad home, a bad house, as it were, as an investment.
When there are so many opportunities now for people, if you're thinking about investing, you might want a home that has been a little bit distressed, because you can come in, revitalize that home, you can rent it out or turn it over. There's more opportunities than ever for whatever type of property it is to turn it into something good.
Okay.
Lenders have incredible packages right now, products. You can renovate it and then turn that renovation money, fold it into the mortgage. So I love to educate clients about all of the different opportunities there are.
Now, you mentioned the inventory. We've gone from 6,000 now to 10. That seems like a huge jump, but that's still a whole lot less than it has been in previous years, right?
Absolutely. In Atlanta, we do not have enough inventory for everybody that wants to buy affordable inventory. We really recommend to people to think about, again, your long-term goal. Is your long-term goal to be in a house, to be building equity, and you want to be closer in town? So as a real estate agent, we're constantly checking what's come on the market. We have wonderful coming soons. One of the benefits of working with Keller Williams is all of the great relationships we have. People talk about coming soons, and also with other agents. There's so many opportunities as you go about thinking about your long-term plan. And just, I would say start with that, because so many people just think very short-term, how can I do this in the next 6 months? Think about the next 5 years. Where do you want to be? There's a Gary Keller phrase that says you can be anywhere you want to be in 5 years. So just have that long view mindset.
For those that don't know what coming soons mean, what does that mean?
It means it's going to be listed really soon. And people that are watching for things to come on the market quickly because they want to get out there that day and see it, they know that, okay, there's something coming in the area that I want to be in.
Right.
Because of the inventory also that we're seeing, it has been gradually increasing over the past year. The interest rates have, of course, been going up and down a little bit. As they start to edge ever so slightly down and we have a little bit more inventory in Metro Atlanta, we're going to see more activity.
Mm-hmm.
The spring market is back. People are shopping because they want to be in their new home by the summer. They want to be in their new school district by summertime. So one of the things we really help educate our clients is as activity gets more busy, home values are going to go up because there's more competition. So people just need to think about that timing wise. We really help our clients think about if your goal is to be somewhere by June, we need to start today because it moves quickly.
Yeah. What are some other trends, movements in the market that you're seeing that buyers and sellers need to be aware of?
Keller Williams has so much data available. We have this great chart that shows where our clients are moving from and where they're moving to. Denver is a really popular area, so a lot of my business is referrals. I'll ask people, do you have any friends or family in these markets, Denver, North Carolina, Florida, that are moving to Atlanta, or do you know people that are planning to move to those markets? So I love to look at those charts and see what are the popular cities right now people are headed towards.
Okay. And to that point, I'm curious, where folks that are moving to Atlanta right now, where are they coming from predominantly?
We have Chicago, California, North Carolina, Florida, and a little bit of Denver too. It's not really based on anything specific. People have, again, different needs. I have a client that moved here last year from Detroit. Her mother is planning to move this summer. There you've got migration from people that their families are moving with them. So It's fun to watch all the patterns of where people are coming from.
Yeah, for sure. Let's talk about that bugaboo of an issue, interest rates. So it seems like people get really wrapped around the axle about interest rates and where they are and maybe don't look at the bigger picture. Mm-hmm. Is that a fair statement?
Absolutely. And we have charts and graphs that show, and you can pick out a home that you like and wait for 12 months and look at the price of that home. Mm-hmm. It's going to go up. This is a great investment. So what we really encourage people is if you can buy now, even if the interest rate isn't where you want it to be, refinance in 2 years. Mm-hmm. You're building equity. You're going to build more equity than you're going to save by waiting for the interest rate to come down. So again, don't have a short-term view in mind. Keep the long view in mind.
Yeah, and this inventory shortage cannot be made up in a short period of time, so it's going to persist for a while. Absolutely. And so what that means is there are, if you own any of that inventory, value is going to go up,
right? Because
there's a shortage,
right?
So it makes perfect sense what you're saying.
We're seeing a lot of new construction too. So if you can wait 6 months or a year for a property to be built, we're seeing a lot of that now, as opposed to several years ago.
Got it. Garet, talk about the types of clients that are best fits for you.
So I love working with clients who know what they want, know what they need. For example, I mentioned the family last year from Tampa. They moved to the area. It was a job relocation. They didn't know exactly which area because they're not from Atlanta. They didn't have any family in Atlanta. So we visited several different parts of the city to find out what was the best location for them. And it took a couple of months because, again, they were flying back and forth and looking. Mm-hmm. I work with a lot of families who are in transition, whether it's they're having to move their parent out of their home because they're moving into an assisted living facility or moving into their house. There's a lot of multi-generational family living going on right now. People are renovating their basements so that their grown kids can move back in for a while, so that, like I said, an elderly parent can move back in. That's really multi-generational. Is a lot of people are looking for that right now.
So it's good if you've got a basement that's unfinished, go finish it because there's a demand for that space, right?
Finish it. There's a demand. If you aren't going to use it right now for living quarters, put a wine cellar in it, put a pool table in it, put a craft room in it. Just utilize the value that you have in your home that's sitting right there.
Great words from Garet Duff. She is with Keller Williams. Garet, I'd love it if you could share a success story, maybe a story that illustrates the great work you do for your clients.
I think working with clients, just again, reinforcing, it takes trust, it takes a process, it takes listening. I had a client who, another situation, selling their house, wanted to buy a house, but had the condition of being able to sell first. We made an offer on a home. Because we had this contingency to sell, they didn't accept it. The offer was not accepted. So I said, just be patient. Let's wait. A couple weeks later, hadn't sold. We went back and made another offer. They had a listing. They had a contract on their house. Went back to the sellers and said, got a contract on this house. We want to make an offer, but we're making it under market value because it'd been sitting on the market. And they accepted. They needed to sell. So they accepted our offer. We had a strong offer in place. A lot of times it's patience. It's just coaching your clients to know that just because it doesn't look like this today, it's going to work out.
Patience is a virtue. It's cliche because it's true, right?
It is, yeah. And people feel anxious. They need to sell for whatever reason. They need to buy for whatever reason. And you just have to be patient with them. You have to listen to them. You have to know that there's all of these things going on in the background of their lives and understand that's really client service, is understanding what else is affecting them and working with them through that.
Yeah. Wow. Great words from Garet Duff with Keller Williams. Garet, this has been great. Lots of great information. Thank you so much for coming in. Yeah,
so much fun. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you for sharing your expertise with us. And we're glad we could celebrate your work. So let's get, though, to the most important question, which is how folks can get in touch.
Absolutely. So my cell phone, shoot me a text, call me 770-403-8720. My website, and I'm going to spell my name because it's a nickname, and a lot of people think it's lots of R's and lots of T's, but it's GaretDuff.kw.com. And my name is a nickname for Margaret, so that's where that comes from.
So it's the back half of Margaret then,
yes.
Right? Something
just
like
one
that.
R, one T. Yep.
Yeah, I love it. Garet Duff with Keller Williams. Garet, thanks again for coming in.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Hey, folks, just a quick reminder, I have a new book out, and if you are a solo or small firm professional services provider and you've got issues with confidence, expressing your value, understanding your value and your pricing, this may be a book that you'd be interested in. It's called The Generosity Mindset. You can find out more at thegenerositymindset.com or where, as the old saying goes, wherever fine books are sold. Also, I just want to thank you, our listener. You are fabulous. We're coming up on show number 750. It's hard for me to wrap my head around that, but we've only gotten this far because of you and because of you supporting the show in the way you do. You continue to like us on social media and you share the show when you've heard a great business leader and what they do, and you're basically referring that business leader into a potential client. And that is just such great work. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate that, because we're here to highlight business leaders like Garet and the great work that they do. So, for example, if you've heard somebody that needs a home, maybe you can refer this show, send this show to that person, and they can be in touch with Garet. But however you do it, we continue to appreciate your support of our work here at Business RadioX as we continue to be the voice of business in the North Fulton region. So for my guest, Garet Duff, I'm John Ray. Join us next time here on North Fulton Business Radio.